Hey, hello, leaders. This is Paul Grau Jr., and welcome back to Run to Your Leadership Challenges. So I hope you're having a great day today. And today I'm going to give you another leadership lesson from the TV show, or actually I'm watching it on Netflix, The Walking Dead. And if you've ever watched it, you know how it can really just develop the characters really good. And it's really a good show. If you can get past some of the weird stuff that happens in it, it's a really good show. I really enjoyed it. And today's lesson actually comes from a king, King Ezekiel. And it's something that he says. There was a part, the part that I was watching, the episode, he was really kind of bearing his soul with another member. And he said something that really stood out. And I was like, ooh, that's so good. He said, there's stories that you tell yourself, and then there's the truth. Again, there's the stories you tell yourself, and then there's the truth. And, I was thinking about that, and I'm like, man, there's just many times in our lives that, our future stories or our stories of the future might be bigger and better, sometimes a lot bigger and better than the absolute truth may be, or what it may turn out to be. But I think I would consider those our goals and our dreams, right? Maybe our vision of the future. So I think that should be a little bit bigger and better than the current state, right? And who knows, you might get 10 years in the future and you might not have lived up to the stories you were telling back 10 years ago, but maybe you've exceeded that story, or maybe you've just fell short. But there's also sometimes those stories are actually smaller or maybe worse than the truth. And I think this relates to the negative self-talk and the lies that we tell ourselves. Those phrases like that we say to ourselves, like, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve this or that, or I'll never be as good as this person, or, fill in the blank, right? That negative self-talk that we do. And, that's a story that we tell ourselves, but it's not the truth, because we can be better. We can be as good as somebody else. We can, do it. Whatever you're talking about, you put in the hard work, and there's always a possibility that you can get something done. And I also thought about that sometimes our stories are a bit exaggerated, and it may not necessarily be on purpose that people exaggerate our stories. And I thought about this because a lot of times the stories that we tell are maybe maybe we've relived those stories so many times that, reality and what really truly happened, the absolute truth, maybe come a little bit hazy to us. And I know that's the truth when I tell a story of like my childhood. I'm remembering certain stuff, but I don't remember probably all of it. I probably don't remember everything that happened step by step by step. Some things stand out that do, but, it's just a little bit hazy. Another thing where they could get exaggerated, think about all those fish stories that you may have told, right? You go fishing and you catch one that's like 6 inches, and by the time you've told 10 people, by the end of the day, man, that fish was like, 3 feet long, but yeah, I threw it back. It was too big to keep. You've probably told a fish story here or there, and it might not have been about a fish. I'm just saying fish story, quote unquote, but it might be, like you were driving down the road and somebody passed you doing 80, and by the time you tell somebody, it's like, man, they were doing 120 and slaloming in and out of cars and all this other stuff. So a lot of times we exaggerate things, but it might not totally be on purpose, but it might not be the absolute truth. And, excuse me, sometimes our past past stories that we tell actually might not even live up to what actually happened. We may downplay it. And there could be a lot of reasons for downplaying. It could be humility, that we don't want to talk about, what happened to us that was really good. It could also be embarrassment, maybe. Maybe we're just embarrassed to tell everything that happened because it might make us look bad. So I think the most valuable lesson that we can get here, and a leadership lesson, is that no matter what the absolute truth is, we need to realize that when we tell a story or when we listen to stories, we need to take into consideration that we're hearing that story based on our perspective. When we tell a story or somebody else tells us a story, they're telling that story from their perception. And their perception might be a lot different than our perception, because perceptions are basically formed out of all of our life experiences. That's why two people can see the same exact event, and when they tell somebody else about it, their stories will be different. And kind of on a side note here, that's the amazing thing about the four Gospels in the Bible. All right, you got Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And the amazing thing is they were all written separately, and there's so many of the stories that align, that are right in alignment with each other. And when you think about that, I mean, if there's a car accident and you have 20 people see it, you're probably going to get 20 different stories. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about this, because there's always the absolute truth somewhere. Again, like King Ezekiel said, there's the stories that we tell ourselves, and then there's the truth. And a very, very long time ago, I had somebody who was very wise tell me that there's 3 sides to every story, or a minimum of 3 sides to every story. There's my side, there's your side, and then somewhere in the middle is the absolute truth. So just think about that today, and think about the stories when you tell a story to somebody else. Think about if you are exaggerating just a little bit, or if you're leaving out a little bit of the details on purpose. Because when you do that, it might not be the absolute truth that you're passing on to somebody else, but they think it is because they're listening to you. They might go and tell somebody else that witnessed that same thing, and they're like, oh, whoa, go back. You missed a lot of the details there. So, when you're searching for the truth, sometimes it's harder to find than you might think it is. And so just take that into consideration. The truth is out there somewhere. Sometimes you really got to dig for it. Hey, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed this show. And if you did, please leave me a comment. You can email me at paul@clcteam.com. I'm a leadership coach. I work with teams. I work with leaders and their teams. I work with teams of leaders. But when it comes right down to it, what I love doing is developing leaders. I help develop leaders to be the best leaders that they can possibly be. Because your people deserve to get the very best of you. And I want to help you be the best leader that you can be. One of the best things that I like to do, this is just a gee whiz, is I love to work with the DISC assessment, the John Maxwell Leadership Team's DISC assessment, DISC evaluation. And I call it a leadership assessment, and it tells so much about people, my clients. Usually when I make a video for them after they take it, I send it to them, and they swear up and down that I had a camera mounted in their office, because they're like, Paul, how did you know this? I didn't even know you. You don't even know me. And you said stuff that nobody else would even know. Well, it's because that's how accurate this assessment is. And that self-awareness goes a very, very long way in developing your leadership skills and growing as a leader. Hey, have a great rest of the day. We'll see you tomorrow. And until then, run to your challenges. We'll see you.